All right, good morning. Hooray. It showed up. Terrific. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Okay, today is a special day. So today is my 30th wedding anniversary to my husband, Tim. I have a fun story to tell you though, as we get started today. So he is in the relationship. He is the detail guy, the amazing at research and putting materials together, and always like the spreadsheet, right? And fantastic at that. So this story is all the more telling. And he was in charge of getting the groom's gifts for our wedding. And um he got a lot of people don't know about this. If you're from Virginia, you probably do. They're called Jefferson cups, right? And just really beautiful, like pewter mugs. And he had them, no handle, just very sleek. Um, and he got those for the groomsmen, and he had them engraved. And just the date of our wedding was one of the things that was engraved on it. And the day before the wedding, or a couple days before the wedding, he went to pick them up, and he looked at them. He's like, oh, they look great. And then he looked at the date and he showed it to the guy, and he said, you got the year wrong. And the guy said, well, no, that's what you wrote. And my husband's like, wait a minute, what? So instead of the actual year, June 29th, 1991, he had written down himself June 29th, 1989. Like he said, it just like rolled off his tongue. He didn't even give it a second thought. So yeah, so I think he was a little nervous. But 30 years later, and we have been dating for a very long time at that point. So 30 years later, here we are. And it has been an incredible ride. It has been a huge blessing. It has been a lot of struggles, both just with life and in our marriage. It has been some of the hardest work we've done, and the best and most rewarding. So I just feel incredibly blessed. I have to say it publicly. Love you, Tim. And I am just honored to be a part of our marriage for 30 years. Oh my gosh. Can you hear? Like, I think my voice is kind of breaking out. It's allergies, but we'll chalk it up to, emotion, because I do that too. And speaking of which, today we're going to talk about, and it's really been on my heart, with this topic of confidence. I say this a lot to people when I'm mentoring them and counseling. Not really counseling. I'm not a counselor. Just mentoring and walking alongside people. I say this a lot. We need to get out of our own way. And so why do we need to get out of our own way? I think everybody hears that and knows that and has thought about that before. But I want to unwrap that a little bit today and not just talk about why we need to get out of our own way, but what we do, how we get in our own way, and why it's important that we change those processes and stop. And a lot of this has to do with, hopefully you've watched the other confidence talks that I've done in the last couple of weeks. If not, go back and watch those, because this builds on that, right? We talk foundationally about building confidence in ourselves, but also in our kids. And I want to say this also, for all the different things that I've said regarding confidence, or talking about, like last week, I talked about the acronym SHAPE, and for parents and helping their kids build confidence. That actually holds true for all of us, for you as well, for anyone. When we're talking about focusing on strengths, helping, I talked about it with respect to let your kids help you, but help also means helping others, right? So when you apply it to yourself, you really build confidence by helping others. That was the whole gist of that, right? With help and having your kids help you, you help them build their confidence. Well, that's same true for you, right? Help others, find a way to serve and help, right? That is incredibly, it builds your confidence, giving to others and helping. We talk about action. Oh my gosh, that's true for you too, right? And so I want to preface all of this when I talk about how you can help your kids and give you very specific ways to help your kids and ways you can do that. Keep in mind, this is applying to you first, right? Sometimes we forget that to lead, your kids are watching you. They're watching you more than they're listening to you. I can guarantee you that. That is very true. And that's just human nature. Your actions speak louder than words. You know, cliche. It's true. Okay, they do. So they're watching you, and that action. Oh wow, I didn't even realize what I'm saying here. Boy, that action word is a huge word. The anchor word, the letter in the middle. So action is relevant in so many ways, right? And you taking action and moving forward is vitally important. You know, P can also be perspective. You know, we talk about so many um, different things that are happening in our lives right now, right? And there's just so much going on. And what am I supposed to, you know, focus on? I know the P last week was praise. Boy, that's so true also. And this will lead me into what we're talking about this week. And then excitement. So see, I just even did a recap for you this week. Look at that. But watch that video because I talk about it a lot more. And especially if you're a parent that's watching this and want to kind of apply, I give you some suggestions. But let's build off of that and talk about those things, how we get in our own way, right? When we're feeling not confident, we're doubting, we're fearing, when those emotions come up, right? They're very blocking. And often those emotions come up and we lose our confidence more when we're trying to make a decision, right? Trying to make even small decisions. But when we're trying to make a decision, move forward, or something has happened in our life that's impacted us. I know for me very much, and I've mentioned to you, you know, losing my aunt recently, and that is hugely impacting. And there are lots of things happening surrounding her loss that are really majorly impacting me, right, on an emotional level with emotions. And that is one of the biggest categories that we get in our own way. Okay. And what we do often with emotions, we do several different things that are very counterproductive to getting over that fear, building our confidence, moving forward through something, right? And what we do is we often brush it aside in different ways. We try to remove the emotion often, right? We try to ignore the emotion. We try to Christians, we pray it away. You know, I shouldn't be feeling that because if I had faith in God, okay, that's not healthy. I am not a licensed psychiatrist or psychologist. However, I can tell you, doing a lot of hard work and doing lots and lots and lots of reading, that is not healthy. And just living, right? Yes, is it true that God wants us to put our trust in Him and to not worry and to give that to Him? But He also gives us emotions. Now, here's the thing about emotions, and I'm going to give you a practical process that I've learned over the years from the Jesuits. Incredible process of discernment and, you know, dealing with or recognizing, I think is a better way, emotions. And I knew I was supposed to talk about this because it blows my mind that, you know, I knew this is what God wanted me to talk about this morning. And literally in the space of the last 24 hours, it came up in my life out of the blue with other people. So hear this morning, you guys. I'm telling you. So emotions, right? They can either be revealing or deceiving, right? Uh, we are moving at such a fast pace and having lots of feelings, especially if you're going through a really a tough time, a very traumatic loss. Um, the big stressors, new house or new school or, the big life changes, but also just day to day. Maybe something's going on with, your parents and your a caregiver. Maybe it's your kids and you're walking through something with them at whatever age, but especially as they get older, right? Um, Whatever it is, maybe you've got a lot of joy going on right now, a lot of joy. Um, that can be deceiving too, and or it can also be revealing. So, number one, let yourself feel these emotions. But sometimes the hardest work is recognizing how you're feeling, what you're feeling, and why. Okay, so sit with that emotion. Make sure that you are recognizing, right, that you're feeling this emotion, and understand that it can, God is giving you that emotion for either, like I said, revealing something, or it can be a deceiving emotion. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I just looked down and I noticed it's kind of dark. I thought we'd be good because today is a very overcast day, but I'm going to come back to this. See, it's live. you get you get me. Okay. Looking. Now the video is finally catching up with me. See that pretty bird? I was trying to get you guys to be able to see this beautiful background here that I have, but my face is just so dark. I apologize. I'll get this figured out. I wanted to be outside. We've been inside, tons of rain, tons and tons and tons of rain. Trying to figure this out, guys. Ugh, there we go. Is that better? Is that lightening up a little bit? Just being further away from my face. Ugh. This is like your commercial break, right? You get to laugh and watch me try to figure out the camera. See what happens there? It's just wiping it. Ah, goodness gracious. So dark again. And there's a delay, so I can't see. All right. Well, there. Oh no. I can see my face a little bit, right? Oh well. All right, we're just gonna keep going because this is getting longer. But there's your commercial amusing break, right? What happens with lives? Okay, so here's what we do with emotions, or here's a suggestion, right? And I have to tell you, a lot of this, like I said, comes from the Jesuit spiritual exercises, not trained, not in, by any, like, not at all. But it's something that I have an amazing spiritual director, and which I guess God has also put on my heart because I have not been in touch for a while. And it's just something that I've dug into over the last few years because to me, it makes incredible sense in terms of having a process of discernment. And the first thing that you want to do is to recognize, like we were talking about, the emotion, um, and kind of sit with that emotion, right? And we tend to rush things. We tend to rush through life. We tend to rush into decisions. There's no time. We have to figure this out. Um, that is really not good, right? We really don't want to have to rush into things or to rush ourselves. Like if you're going through these strong emotions, if you are having a lot of stress right now, right? A stressor, a loss, going through something major. You don't want to push them aside, right? Or pray them away, or shame yourself, or chastise yourself for feeling them, which I think is sometimes what happens, as Christians sometimes too. If you're not Christian, this completely applies to you as well, sitting with your emotions. But I think Christians sometimes will shame ourselves in a way into, saying, oh, well, I shouldn't feel that way because I, should have more faith, or I should. I saw this amazing post yesterday. It's one of the things that it just blew my mind how God kind of confirmed for me this topic this morning. And I'm trying to remember her last name. I followed her. She's amazing. That's just the little bit that I saw. And someone that I am friends with on Facebook posted this chart in terms of like healthy emotional processing. And then, kind of as Christians, what we do. And it's exactly like what was in my notes, to cover today. And, or in my mind and what I was going to cover today. And I see this, oh shoot, brand new to my brain and my exposure. So I can't remember. Her name was Allison. I remember the first name. It was one L in Allison. I'll try to remember her name so you guys can also follow her, because the little bit I saw looked incredible. So anyway, to me, again, it was confirmation, right? And a beautiful, beautiful friend that I met a decade ago. We really, really hit it off. And then, life, and we didn't stay in touch. It was just a moment. We've now reacquainted, and truly, I'm kind of blown away. I feel like God has just kind of just gifted her to me at the best time, the most amazing time. Anyway, and she sat down yesterday, had a few minutes to chat, and this all came up. And it turns out she is trained in spiritual direction in the Jesuit tradition. Like, oh my goodness, Lord, this is really amazing. So when I say this, I don't want you to think that, oh, this is me and it's Mama D and coming up with this. No, this is something that has, just really developed in my life, and God has brought to me that I want to share with you, and helped me, and to give you a process, right, of getting out of our own way, because we're going to talk about overthinking things too. Oh, hello. So sit with the emotions, right? Do not push them aside. Do not shame yourself for feeling them. No. Why are you feeling them? Why are they coming up? What is happening? Guys, this is some of the hardest work you're ever going to have to do, and some of the most rewarding and best work, which is that reflection, that taking a moment, recognizing, as a Christian, recognizing I'm not in control, that God is in control, and that He wants the best for me. It's truly, truly incredible when you can just recognize that and sit with that. Try to sit and discern, right? And say, what is that emotion revealing? Is it revealing something about me? Is it I am, angry because of kind of the way I acted? Am I angry at, God? Am I frustrated? And think about why that emotion's coming up. Often that is followed, for me, not pushing them aside, but then reflecting. Let's say it's a circumstance or a situation, or that, there's been action taken. Well, then I will sit back and say, okay, how did I behave? How did I act? Was it appropriate? Was it out of anger, frustration, jealousy, concern? Like, what was the root, right, of that action? And did I behave, you know, in the manner and the way that I know Jesus would want me to behave? Was I loving? Was I compassionate, understanding? Now, don't get me wrong. There are times and circumstances where anger is a very appropriate response to things. So that's my point, is sit back, really think about why these emotions are coming up, where they're coming from. And quite honestly, I am a huge proponent that if you've got a lot of strong and overwhelming emotions and you don't know where to put them, then please call a counselor. And I do not love that, you know, the hotlines are becoming more and more prevalent for everything that we've gone through with COVID. But I am happy that there's no stigma, there's no issue with going and talking to someone who has, the way I put it is, they have no dogs in the race, right? They're not involved in your life. They're not coming at it with any kind of agenda. So it's really important to seek counseling. As a Christian, is important for me that's a Christian counselor because of just where their mindset is. But that is a personal choice and decision. So with these emotions, you want to sit with them and recognize, okay, am I being kind of deceived here in my choices and why I'm feeling that emotion? I'm sorry, you guys. I keep glancing down and my face is like, you can't see my mouth. You can't see anything. This is so funny. It's kind of like I'm blocked out, right? Okay, so done with that one. The next thing is overthinking. All right, so we're going to talk about overthinking because, again, we have to get out of our own way. And so many of us get too much in our heads, right? Close friends all throughout my life, my closest friends will know, sometimes I'll call and be like, all right, I'm in my head. I need to get out of my head. Help me get out of my head. I'm overthinking this, right? I'm analyzing, I'm bringing in information, I'm feeling emotion, and I feel like I have to move and I have to go, and that's part of my personality. I can be decisive and move and go, and I have to recognize that about myself and take a step back and kind of say, okay, take a deep breath, you know, and I can get overwhelmed because my brain can think of so many options and so many possibilities. It's something that made me a good litigator. I can look at both sides of an issue. I can argue both sides of the issue. I can go back and forth, no problem. So that can be a blessing and it can be a curse, right? So often when we're feeling not confident, it's because we are getting ourselves all twisted up in knots. We are overthinking it. We're not recognizing the main thing, right? And usually it's because we are making ourselves kind of crazy, either by thinking of things that aren't likely to happen. We're letting our emotions take over. We think it's all about thinking, but it's not, because we haven't dealt with the emotions of it. I want to say something here that our society, I think, does a disservice. I really don't like the whole idea that emotions and intuition are dismissed and that only logic and thinking, and that's the only way to make a good decision. And I think that's false, that we dismiss that. I love Malcolm Gladwell's book, Blink. Please read that. It is fantastic. It is exactly about this topic. And here's the premise real quick, and it is so applicable here, which is we don't realize how powerful our brain really is and how much information is going into our brain. So sometimes when we make that split decision or that decision that we think is just based on our gut, our brain has already processed so much information and put so much together that we don't even realize it. Okay. So it truly isn't just a emotional or gut response or reaction. A lot of times it is not. And, there are lots and lots of studies that show those kinds of decisions and decision making and recognizing the incredible marriage of emotions. And as I said, as a Christian, knowing, God gave us those emotions as well and that intuition. And this is where too life experience comes in. It matters, because the more your brain is exposed to different things and different scenarios and different situations with different people, the more information it has and the more it can draw on when you're trying to move through and decide. Okay, so number one, let's stop beating ourselves up for having emotions. Number two, let's stop dismissing emotions. Number three, though, let's make sure that those emotions are not deceiving us, right? We don't want to fully rely on our emotions. That's not good either, right? Because they can be deceiving. And we need to recognize that thinking through a problem can really create its own confidence issue, right? We just start to get in our own way because we're coming up with just a ridiculous amount of scenarios, basically, right? So even though we definitely want to pull in always, right? You want a logic, and depending on what the decision is or what it is that you're trying to figure out, you want to pull in information, right? You want to really be able to think through something in a logical way, but be careful, because especially when it's a personal choice or a personal decision, we can often rationalize things away. And I don't know about you guys, but holy cow, and especially being trained as a lawyer, okay, we can rationalize just about anything. That's a danger. You have to watch out for that and recognize that and know yourself. Okay. So, bottom line is those are two of the biggest components and hindrances to our confidence, right? Because when we are pushing aside our emotions, ignoring our emotions, chastising ourselves or shaming ourselves for having certain emotions, wow, those aren't going anywhere. You can say that as much as you want, but they're going to be there, and they're going to kind of get in the way instead of being there to help you, right? To help you grow as a person, grow as a leader, to help you process so that your brain has that information, that you've gone through this whole thing before. So what I was talking about, like Malcolm Gladwell talks about with blank, right? And gathering information, just even going through this process, I've noticed over the years how much better, right, my my stress levels are, even going through really 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 difficult times, because we're it's how we deal with that stress is always there, right? But it can really steal our confidence, because when we feel like we're not being decisive when we're supposed to be, and we feel like we're being too emotional and we're not supposed to be, right, all that does is, again, just kind of put this burden on ourselves, that we can't be authentic to what's happening. Now, a lot of what I've talked about is pretty much everything I've talked about, it is a choice, you guys. So I kind of want to end with this. Otherwise, I'll keep talking to you guys for like an hour this morning. But these are choices that we make. We can choose to take time to reflect and sit with our emotions, or we cannot, right? It's a choice. And sometimes it's a very difficult choice. It's easier to brush aside. It's easier to pray it away. It's easier to just kind of move on. It is a really tough choice to sit with emotions, to sit with decisions and not move and not go so quickly, for those of us, right? And other personalities, be careful not to have analysis paralysis, right? Is what I call with overthinking for some personalities, who are more data driven and not wanting to make decisions and not wanting to move. If you're more of that personality, be careful with this as well, right? You have to make a choice and a decision. So again, your reflection and your emotions and your blockages are going to be more in keeping with stagnation and staying put, as opposed to moving too quickly through something. But whichever, or, it's a spectrum, and wherever you fall on that, it all begins with recognizing how you're feeling, where it's coming from, and then choosing, right, to make a decision, to make a plan. Whatever your spirituality may be, that has to be foundational to this process. Okay. And then, to make decisions. And guys, don't get me wrong, this doesn't have to be a life-changing decision. It can literally be to, make a choice or a decision to respond a certain way, right? And the more you practice this and the more we get out of our own way, right, the more our reactions to others and are automatic and appropriate, and our relationships improve and our connection with others improve, because we have the choice on how we respond. We can't control other people. We can't control their response. We can't control how they're going to feel, how they're going to act. We can't control that. Did you hear me? You can't control that. Okay. Um, but we can control how we respond and how we view something and the choices that we make as a result. And I can't think of anything more confidence building than recognizing that, using this process. That's the result. When you use this process, you are improving your reactions and improving your connection with people and improving. That is just incredibly empowering. And I can't think of a better way to improve confidence. And please don't get me wrong, confidence, I do not want confidence to be synonymous with in my own power. I've got this, I can do everything, it's all me. No, no. For me as a Christian, it's confidence that I know God is in control, God is with me, that this isn't in my own power, that this is not all about me. And wow, that's incredibly confidence building for making good choices, keeping him at the center. That I know then the more I practice this and the more I, whatever your spirituality is, am making sure that my spiritual health is intact and moving forward. Does that mean I'm going to make mistakes? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We talked about that in one of the other talks too. You will make mistakes right there. Okay. But I just wanted to be really clear on that. This isn't an ego confidence, right? This is you are worthy. You are worthy confidence. I'm going to end there because I'm going to start getting choked up now. You're worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. Hear me, please, this morning. And I want to end with that because I am super excited. Today's very low key, just in case you're wondering, very low key. But I love that. We're just going to spend time together. I think we're actually going to go see a movie in the theater, and I'm beyond excited about that. It also, is near and dear to my heart because I know my aunt loved movies so much and loved going to movies, and I loved going to movies with her. Again, actually, why my mug this morning, I didn't talk about that. If you've made it this far, is a Mickey mug, because that is in Disneyland, not Disney World. That my first amusement park with my aunt and my uncle and my Omi and Opa when I was 5, and just my heart. And it's where all of my kids have gone first and have only been to Disneyland with them. And that is just a sweet, sweet memory for today. So anyway, I'm going to sign off on that. And thank you for being with me this morning, or whenever you're watching this. And God bless. And remember, you are worthy. You are worthy. And I will see you next week. Have an amazing 4th of July weekend. Little secret, my birthday too. Yay. Okay. Yeah, I've got really a crazy week this week. I love it. But have an amazing 4th of July. Celebrate this country. I'm going to stop there because I'll get on a whole nother Tea with Mama D topic. And have just a safe and incredible weekend, hopefully connecting with all of your family and friends. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.